that is the access to the media.
Yes, you can proceed.
Thank you, Your Worship. There has been an application brought by SABC for the broadcasting of this particular matter. The said application was emailed to the defense, which the defense responded to the prosecution saying they have no objection to the matter being broadcasted and audio visuals be taken. The state's position has got no objections also. However, the state requests that certain conditions be attached in respect of the access to the media. Your Worship, the first one being that all audio-visual cameras need to be set up before this court is in session. There is to be no interference in the administration of the proceedings in this particular matter while the court is in session. No person is allowed to take any photographs. And lastly, Your Worship, that this particular application should only be granted for this particular court while the accused is appearing in this particular court. Should there be any other application when the trial date is set, a proper application will have to be brought before that presiding officer in line with the Fundradar case, Your Worship, where the state as well as defense will have equal opportunity to respond as far as access and reporting or recording live for that particular matter when we set up a trial. If it please the court, Your Worship, may I request we deal with that issue first before we deal with the matter itself.
Yes, I confirm that I appear on behalf of Mr. Duduzane Zuma, together with my learned friend Mr. Darby Chabert, instructed by BDK attorneys in the form of Mr. Luki Krauser. Beyond that, ma'am, I confirm everything that the prosecutor, my learned friend, has said, and I would ask you to deal with the matter in accordance with what he has suggested.
After having read the papers for access for audio and video broadcasting of the above-mentioned matter, the court orders the following. The application is hereby granted on the following grounds. All audio-visual equipment to be set up prior to the sitting of the court. No photographs will be taken whilst the court is in session. There will be no interference by any cameramen or members of the media whilst the court is in session, and further the cameras need not in any way hamper the execution of duties of the court personnel. This order is applicable whilst this matter is in the section court, that is court number 3, dated at Randwick on this 12th day of July 2018.
Counsel for Mr. Zuma for the 23rd of August for disclosure of the inquest proceedings coupled with all the exhibits together with the contents of the docket.
Thank you. Before this court is going to respond this case, I think if we can just put on record for record purposes, does your client have any outstanding warrants, pending cases, previous convictions, that you explained to your client the provisions of section 6011B?
Yes, Your Worship. Yet there are no outstanding warrants. The client is presently on bail in an unrelated matter, but he was summoned to appear today and returned from overseas in answer to that summons, well knowing that he may be charged in another matter. The prosecutor is fully aware of all the circumstances. So there is a pending case, but it was only brought against him after he had arrived in the country in response to a summons to be here. So there is, from the point of view of the prosecution, no objection to him being remanded on warning. And beyond that, we've explained the provisions of the relative section.
Thank you. The date, the 23rd of August, was it arranged with you?
Yes, yeah, I confirm also there's no previous conviction, Your Worship. The date, the 23rd, is a date by which, and probably well before which, the state are going to provide us with all the material in their possession as described by the prosecutor, Mr. Barber. We will then be able to make an assessment of that material and hopefully on the 23rd of August be able to arrange a trial date, which we hope will be this year.
Thank you.
And please, Your Worship, just to respond to my learned colleague in respect of the summons, I confirm saying that there was correspondence between myself and the previous attorney of record, Mr. Mazahem, whereby he confirmed that Mr. Zuma would be here for this appearance. Your Worship, and as such, Your Worship, there is no reason at this junction to change these conditions in respect to that his appearance.
Thank you. Sir. You are warned to be back in court number 323 August. If you are not here, a warrant of arrest will be issued against you. Do you understand that? Thank you.
And court, please, Your Worship, may I request you adjourn for a few minutes so that the regular prosecutor can take over this particular court.
Thank you. The court will adjourn.
All right, cut.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
Thank you for the patience.
Yeah, Julie, let's go.
Watching live visuals from the Randburg Magistrates Court there, where Duduzane Zuma is appearing. The postponement, we got confirmation now. We do apologize for the poor sound quality initially, but we're told that the 24th of August, 23rd rather, the 23rd of August, the postponement, Duduzane Zuma will be required to attend court proceedings then.
Our reporter Griselda Lewis is on standby at the court. As soon as she is ready, we will be crossing to her. As you can see in the footage there, she is already starting to have a conversation with Mr. Duduzane Zuma. Let's try and go in there and hear
How are you
what they're
feeling?
talking
Just a
about.
word. Just a word, Mr. Zuma. Sorry? All right, that's all that Duduzane Zuma can say this morning, is that he is feeling okay, given the fact that this is the second time this week he's in court. The case, of course, postponed to the 23rd of August, as we indicated a bit earlier on. This is to allow the defense time to study the contents of the docket, thus knowing what the case is against Duduzane Zuma. I'm just going to go outside at the moment to see if he will address some of the supporters who are gathered outside. I'll cross to you a bit later on.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Griselda Lewis there, trying to get as much information for us as possible. We'll try to catch up with her a little later on. Just to recap that Duduzane Zuma, the case has been postponed to the 23rd of August in order for the team to study the contents.
It was expected, though, the postponement, and there you have it. The date is the 23rd of August, a second appearance for Duduzane Zuma in the courts this week. On Monday, he appeared in court in terms of a charge that he might have a hand in the state capture narrative in relation to his interactions with SABC Jonas and a bribe offer of about 600 million rand, and today appearing in court on 2 cases of culpable homicide, and that being postponed to the 23rd of August. But as Griselda Lewis was saying, there are people outside who call themselves the hands-off Duduzane Zuma, I think, and his supporters, so he might just be addressing them as he goes outside. He was very reluctant to speak to Griselda Lewis. I wonder if he will have an appetite to speak to the public outside, but that stands to be seen. Let's go back to Griselda and hear what she has to say.
Well, the case against Mr. Duduzane Zuma, who is facing 2 charges of culpable homicide as well as an alternative charge of negligent driving, that case has now been postponed to the 23rd of August. As I indicated, that is to allow the defence enough time to study the contents of the docket. That docket, of course, will contain exactly what the state's case is against Mr. Duduzane Zuma. Quite a large Zuma family contingent here inside court this morning, showing support for their brother. Also just a few members of Black First, Land First, who are saying they're here to support Duduzane Zuma, and they were very much against the incident at the Commercial Crimes Court earlier this week, when Duduzane Zuma was brought inside court with leg irons, saying that that should not have been the case, and that the National Prosecuting Authority needs to answer to that. They also allege that there's a politically motivated case against Mr. Duduzane Zuma, saying this is nothing but a ploy to get to his father, the former President Jacob Zuma, who is facing his own legal woes. We're just waiting at the moment for Mr. Duduzane Zuma, together with his family members, as well as some of those supporters from Black First, Land First, to come from inside the Randburg Magistrates Court. As we indicated a bit earlier on as well, we were not expecting proceedings to last much long. The state did indicate yesterday that it would ask for a postponement. That is what has happened. The National Prosecuting Authority now about to come out. Let me see if I can speak to the National Prosecuting Authority as they come out. We'll just walk towards this direction. Sispindim Chonondwane. Sispindim Chonondwane, sorry, we're live. Sispindim Chonondwane, if you could just join us and walk with us towards that direction, please. Obviously, a postponement in this matter. Just some clarity, of course. This is, of course, to allow the defence to study the docket, the contents of the docket, and exactly what the state's case is against Mr. Duduzane Zuma.
Yes, indeed, you are correct, Griselda, in that the matter has been postponed so that the state can disclose the contents of the docket to the defence team, so that they can start preparing their defence and know exactly what is the state case against Mr. Duduzane Zuma.
But how strong is the state's case? Of course, much has been said about the inquiry or the inquest that was held in 2014, where it found that Mr. Duduzane Zuma was negligent in that particular incident. But the National Prosecuting Authority failed to prosecute then, but only, it seems, after pressure from AfriForum. There seemed to have been an about turn.
Let us face the facts. Indeed, the reviewal decision came after AfriForum wrote a letter to the NPA requesting a nolle prosecute certificate, and then called for the intervention of the Office of Advocate Bongile Mzinyati, who then reviewed the decision that was taken by the Director of Public Prosecutions not to prosecute Mr. Duduzane Zuma. So it has then called for this day wherein the state has to reinstate the charges against Mr. Zuma.
Just to interrupt you there. Visuals now, if we could go towards that direction. Sispindi, if you could just towards the side. Some members of the Zuma family who were here to support Duduzane Zuma in this very brief court appearance. Members of Black First, Land First as well. There is Mr. Duduzane Zuma, who is coming out now. Let's see if we can make a third attempt to try and speak to the family members at this time. We hope perhaps that would be able to get some comment. Mr. Zuma, we're here again. How are you feeling today, sir? Answer us this time, Mr. Zuma. How are you feeling this time?
Excuse me, please. Excuse me.
Mr. Zuma, how are you feeling?
Guys, you're blocking my way. Now, please get through.
Can you please move?
Clear. Clear.
Don't push us.
Clear.
You will move.
You're blocking us. Clear. Clear. Don't make things unpleasant. Clear.
Move with me. Come with me. Come towards the car. Come towards the car. Come with me. Let's go. Quite a media scrum here for Mr. Zuma. Quite a media scrum here as Mr. Duduzane Zuma leaves the Magistrates Court. Ronewa, if you could come this direction. He's about to make his way inside the car, and very few.
Yeah, very much.
Se scoop.
Well, as you can see live visuals from the Randburg Magistrates Court there, Griselda Lewis doing her very best to get some reaction from Duduzane Zuma, but he's just smiling and not giving us anything. But yeah, she's trying. We heard from the NPA, the postponement 23rd August, in order to give the defense time to study the contents of this docket. Huge support, according to Griselda Lewis, inside court from the Zuma family as well as BLF members.
Here from the SABC, Sisi, obviously.
Hi, Afro.
With this platform, we don't do it.
Afro Worldview. Sissy, hi.
Sisi, you're obviously here to support Mr. Duduzane Zuma in this particular case. We see the hashtags that were on there saying that this is a politically motivated case and that there should have never been leg iron.
Move so that the car can move, please.
Can we just get a comment relating to that, ma'am? You believe that this case is politically motivated?
It is. Everyone.
Our position as Black First Land First is that the family which is involved in particular with this case should get justice, and that if there were commits of injustice was committed, someone should be held accountable to that. But we have seen how media has been used to lynch Comrade Duduzane Zuma. We have seen how the judiciary has been captured to settle political scores, and in particular to demonize those in society who stand for radical economic transformation in the country. So we are here in solidarity with the comrade that we have seen just a few days ago, who was appearing in court in relation to allegations of corruption, in particular by the most corrupt in this country. People like SABC journalists who are implicated in massive corruption in this country, and no one is opening cases against them, and the judiciary of this country is not holding them accountable. So we are here in solidarity with this comrade, but we are here to also send a clear message to society, in particular to say that if you stand for radical economic transformation, if you call for land expropriation without compensation, and in this instance, if you are in any way associated with the former president of this country, which is Comrade Jacob Zuma, media in this country has no respect for you. The state has no respect for you. The judiciary has no respect for you. In fact, you are already pronounced as guilty before court processes and the legal process is fully followed. Media, the way it writes about Comrade Duduzane in particular, they have already demonized him. They have already pronounced that he's guilty. They have already used his association in particular in terms of business with the Gupta family to demonize the young man. And as Black South Africans, we believe that this is really unfair, because if we really uphold to the principle that all is equal before the law and that you are innocent until proven otherwise, surely we should see this being practiced on how this comrade Duduzane Zuma is being treated by the media and in particular by the judiciary in society. But also, most importantly, this case has resurfaced It was resurfaced by an extremist, a group of racists that should be banned in a democratic nation such as South Africa, which is AfriForum. AfriForum wants to see black people fighting. We've never seen a single case where AfriForum holds other white people who kill our people day and night to account. But because Duduzane happens to be the son of the president, he should be demonized. He should be, his dignity should be stripped off. He should be reduced to nothing just because he's the son of the president. It's really unfair. And we are here in solidarity because when they are done with Duduzane Zuma, we are next. They are coming for you. They are coming for anyone in this country. And it's about time in South Africa that as black people we unite. It doesn't matter what the media tells us, but we must be here for each other. And we must be clear that us who stand for radical economic transformation should be united now more than ever and to declare war against our enemies.
Don't you think that the families, the Dube family and the Mashaba family deserve justice? This incident happened in 2014, and in this particular matter, after only the AfriForum had decided to pursue private prosecution, was it that the National Prosecuting Authority decided to charge Mr. Zuma relating to this culpable homicide issue?
I don't think anyone has said anything about not respecting the law and how the court, for example, should be given a chance to proper ventilate on this particular case. But the point we are making in today and in this particular instance is that AfriForum, which is the Euroforum formation, which represents the rights and ideas of white settler minority in South Africa, has jumped into this case not because they care about the Dube family. They don't care about any of us who are black, who are always victims of crime in this particular country. And this is in no way to deny the pain that the Dube family has continued to suffer and losing a loved one. And we are black people. All of us know the pain of losing a loved one. But we can't keep quiet when media continues to be used in this country to lynch people. They are done with President Zuma. He's no longer the president of the country. Media has their favorite president. Why can't they not stop with the war that they continue and the reign of terror being inflicted on this particular family? It's really unfair and it's uncalled for.
Part of the poster that we saw speaking about the protest or show of solidarity for Duduzane Zuma here today indicated that this is a political conspiracy also probably hatched by the current presidency in South Africa. Is that what you're saying?
That is our position. In fact, our position as BLF and with many other black formations that we have seen united under the hashtag Free Duduzane is that free Duduzane and arrest de Klerk. Why is de Klerk not in jail? De Klerk is in charge of the murder and massacres of our people. This is documented. No one can deny it. What do we do instead? When de Klerk walks into parliament at the inauguration in particular of Cyril Ramaphosa, he gets standing ovation from black leaders that we have elected to push the interest of black people. No one calls for de Klerk to go to jail. No one calls for Marcus Joste to go to jail. He can go to holiday as he pleases. He can come back. No one calls for people like Christo Visi, who are renowned rhino poachers, people who are engaged in massive corruption in this country. No one calls for that. So ours is to say that we live in South Africa. South Africa is first and foremost a black country that unfortunately is in the hands of a white settler minority, which continues to use their capture of the media and many other organs of the state to demonize our people, to degrade our people. And we are going to continue providing this kind of support. This has nothing to do with the Comrade Duduzane as the son of the president. In fact, when they come to attack you, for example, Griselda Lewis, we are going to be the first to stand by your side when the enemy declares war against you. So we continue to preach the principle of peace amongst black people and war to the enemy. We have been divided for far too long, and I think it's about time we unite and actually take action against this injustice.
Thank you very much, certainly, for your time. Black First, Land First. sharing their sentiments on what they believe is a political conspiracy against Duduzane Zuma. Just to recap, of course, the case now postponed to the 23rd of August, and some calls here saying arrest the clerk. Let's go in and have a look at some of the posters. We'll ask Roneba Musandiwa to come with us to show you, see some of these shackles on one of these protesters here. Obviously in direct to what Duduzane Zuma was used to chain Duduzane Zuma leg irons. They're saying, of course, that should not have happened. You recall, for those of you who might not have seen that, in the Commercial Crimes Court, when Duduzane Zuma was in court on charges relating to state capture, he had been in leg irons, that of course causing an uproar given the fact that the charges that he faces are not of a violent nature. So this demonstration here, some of the posters saying arrest de Klerk instead. You see some hashtags saying Tumamina, of course that attached to the office of President Cyril Ramaphosa. And these are some of the protesters who are saying that many of the charges that have been brought against Mr. Duduzane Zuma, in part why the National Prosecuting Authority, they say, is now pursuing the charges against Duduzane Zuma. It's nothing but a political conspiracy, and that in actual fact this is nothing but a ploy to drag, I guess they say, Mr. Duduzane Zuma into the legal woes that are also faced by the former President Jacob Zuma.
Live visuals from Randburg there. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Griselda Lewis, great reporting there outside Randburg with regards to, well, strong sentiments, I guess, outside the court. I think Griselda has...
is politically motivated, of course, raising quite a number of issues on...
Down!
Well, unlike what we have previously seen, there was quite a huge contingent of the Zuma family here outside court to show support for Duduzane Zuma. We did get an indication yesterday that there would have been some family members here, none of them, of course, speaking to any of the media here. But when I did ask Duduzane Zuma a bit earlier on how he was feeling about being at court for a second time this week, he did simply say that he was hungry and would not share any comment relating to whether he believed that the charges that were brought against him, including these of culpable homicide now, which have resurfaced, he would not comment on whether he believes that there is any political motivation relating to the charges that have been brought against him. But that's all we'll have for you here at the Randburg Magistrates Court. The case, of course, postponed to the 23rd of August, and we understand that that's when a trial date will be set for the case of Duduzane Zuma relating to 2 counts of culpable homicide and an alternative charge of negligent driving. Back to you in studio.
Thank you so much, Griselda. Well, quite an eventful morning at the Randburg Magistrates Court. You saw there Duduzane Zuma not wanting to respond to Griselda. Reminds me of that press conference the other day when Tom Moyane's lawyer, Eric Mabuza, was saying he's here with me, but he's going to keep a dignified silence. Yeah. And almost a similar occurrence today.
Yeah, as we were saying, strong sentiment shared outside the Randburg Magistrates Court. People saying that Duduzane Zuma should be given justice, should get justice, and hitting out at the media and the judiciary, saying that the media is demonizing Duduzane Zuma. So we'll hopefully get more from outside the Randburg Magistrates Court a little later on.
Right now, we're going to move to Kimberley.
Well, residents of Galeshiwe and Greenpoint